engineered short-form
Alright,
videos.
so in this video,
Every single swipe gives you something new. A
we're
joke,
going
a
to
dance, a shocking fact,
do
a cute
a
animal,
live stream.
all within
We're gonna
seconds.
watch a couple
No
videos
effort
on
required.
SAT.
Just constant novelty and
Alright.
stimulation. Your brain is basically mainlining pure, concentrated dopamine. Meanwhile, let's get straight to the point. You can literally hack your brain to crave studying the same way it craves endless social media scrolling. First, let's understand what's really happening in your brain right now. Why can you scroll for 3 hours but can't focus on a textbook for 15 minutes? One word: dopamine. Dopamine is that feel-good neurotransmitter that floods your brain when you experience pleasure. Your brain is constantly seeking it out like a heat-seeking missile. And here's the problem. Your brain is getting an absolute feast of dopamine from those perfectly engineered short-form videos. Every single swipe gives you something new. A joke, a dance, a shocking fact, a cute animal, all within seconds. No effort required. Just constant novelty and stimulation. Your brain is basically mainlining pure, concentrated dopamine. Meanwhile, studying sits at the bottom of your pleasure scale. Books, notes, lectures, they all require effort before they deliver reward. They're slow. They demand focus. The dopamine payoff feels so distant compared to the instant hit from TikTok. So what's the solution? It's twofold, and I promise it works because I've seen it transform tons of students who thought they were just not the studying type. Part 1. You need to reset your dopamine baseline. Think of your dopamine system like a scale that's completely out of balance. Right now, your baseline is so high that only the most stimulating activities register as pleasurable. We need to recalibrate that system. Start with a mini dopamine detox. Not some extreme, live in the woods for a month nonsense. Just small, daily practices that gradually reset your sensitivity. Spend 15 minutes each day in complete boredom. No phone, no music, no stimulation. Just you and your thoughts. Walk outside without any devices. Sit and stare at a wall if you have to. Let your mind wander and settle. When you first try this, it will feel excruciating. Your brain will scream for stimulation. That's how you know it's working. You're experiencing withdrawal from your usual dopamine hits. After just a week of daily practice, something remarkable happens. Your baseline starts to lower. Suddenly, simpler pleasures begin to register again. Your brain, starved of its usual feast, becomes grateful for smaller meals. But here's where most advice stops, and it's not enough. Lowering your baseline is only half the battle. You also need to raise studying higher on your pleasure scale. This is part 2. Make studying deliver more dopamine. Start seeing your textbooks as treasure maps, not torture devices. Each page contains information that could genuinely change how you understand the world. Your brain craves knowledge. That's why you watch those 5 psychology facts that will blow your mind videos. Create a reward system that works with your brain, not against it. Break your study material into small, conquerable chunks. After each section, put a check mark or draw a star. This simple act of completion triggers a small dopamine hit. Use the Pomodoro technique. 25 minutes of focused study followed by a 5-minute break. Your brain loves countdowns and finite challenges. Make it a game to stay completely focused during those 25 minutes. Explain concepts out loud as if you're teaching someone. Your brain processes information differently when you verbalize it. And the feeling of mastery gives you guessed it, more dopamine. Take notes by hand, with different colored pens. The physical act of writing coupled with visual variety stimulates multiple parts of your brain simultaneously. Make connections between what you're learning and things you already care about. Studying economics? Think about how it explains why your favorite brand just raised their prices. Learning biology? Connect it to how your own body works when you're at the gym. The ultimate hack? Study with intention, not obligation. When you approach your books with genuine curiosity instead of dread, your entire experience transforms. You're no longer studying for a grade. You're feeding your brain's natural hunger for understanding. I've seen people reach for their books instead of their phones during free moments. Not because they're superhuman or different from you, but because they've rewired their brains to associate studying with pleasure. Start small. Today, do a 15-minute dopamine detox. Tomorrow, try studying in 25-minute focused bursts with small rewards after each one. Within 2 weeks, you'll notice the shift. Within a month, you might find yourself actually craving those study sessions. Remember, your brain isn't broken, it's just been hijacked. Take back control of your dopamine, and you take back control of your future. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe. I share these science-backed learning strategies every week, and I'd love to help you transform from distracted to dedicated. Let me know in the comments which technique you're going to try first.
I sat perfectly still as 12 hands went up into the air. My mother-in-law had just asked our entire...
Let's get straight to the point. You can literally hack...
Hey everyone, today I'll be showing you a quick dopamine-based morning routine that not only made me addicted to studying, but it also got me an average of 98% grades at school. So I got straight A's. And the good thing about this routine is that it's so easy to implement. It does not take much to implement. You just have to literally change one thing and you're golden. So let's get straight into it. Now, this routine will not only make you 10 times more productive, but it will actually make you enjoy studying, which is the most important part. It will make studying addicting because this morning routine takes advantage of your dopamine levels. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so for a quick explanation of what dopamine is, let's say this is your day and this is your dopamine. And I'm going to add a third line, which is your baseline. Basically, when you wake up in the morning, your dopamine is somewhere around this range, somewhere here, right? The problem is a lot of students or people in general start their morning routine by opening their phone or watching social media or, I don't know, even pornography. And the problem with those kinds of activities is it causes an early dopamine spike. And the problem with huge spikes of dopamine in the morning is that it will create a huge drop to compensate for the huge dopamine spike. Because of course, your body undergoes homeostasis. Your body needs to balance your levels of dopamine. And because of its huge drop, whatever you do during this time will just feel like a freaking chore. It will feel like work. It will feel unenjoyable. This is why whenever you use your phone at this time, it will cause a huge spike. And typically when you try to study after using a device, so for example here in this range, your studying will just feel really unenjoyable. Like literally you will rather be doing anything else. And this is why most people, after using their phone and social media, what do they do to circumvent this? They obviously go back to using their phone again. And that is the problem with starting your day off with a dopaminergic activity. It starts your day off with such a peak, your day ends up looking like this. It's gonna look very messy. And because of these peaks, it's gonna be hard for you to focus doing literally anything. Now, what about a top student? A top student manages their dopamine levels like this. So typically in the morning when they wake up, the first thing they do is they don't use their phones. So it's gonna look something like this. When you don't use your phone or if you don't do any dopaminergic activity, your dopamine stays at this baseline. And because you're at this baseline, whatever you're doing like work or studying or whatever, it becomes enjoyable. Because your brain is not suffering from a huge dopamine spike, therefore it becomes a consistent. And throughout the day when you're eating or whatever, as long as you're keeping this line in check, then you're going to have a good, consistent study habit. Top students typically aim for more natural sources of dopamine, like for example, studying itself or going outdoors or even exercising. And you could check out Matthew Smith's video on this. He actually created a very good video explaining about dopamine loading. So the first thing I do whenever I wake up, or regardless of what time I wake up, although I do wake up at 5 a.m. nowadays because I find that to be the most practical time for me, but there isn't really a correct time to get up. So as long as you just follow this routine when you get up. But literally the first thing I do when I get up and I get out of bed is I don't go to my phone. I literally don't touch that thing. It's usually in silent mode and I just don't open it. I don't check messages, I don't check emails, I don't even check my classes if there's an announcement. I don't touch a piece of technology. I just go straight to meditate. And basically my meditation does two things. The first thing is that it clears my mind. It stabilizes my dopamine so it's not spiking, so it has that baseline level. Not only does this help start my day, but it also helps me study because anything that's occurring in my mind will be flushed away when I'm meditating. So I always do this before I study because it's quite beneficial as well, because when you're taking information as much as possible, you don't want to have too much cognitive load like thoughts or anything disturbing you. So that's why the first thing I do when I get out of bed is I literally just meditate. And I meditate for a couple minutes before I start studying. The second thing that my meditation does, and it's very, very important, but I essentially prime myself for the day. Whenever I meditate, I try to align myself with what I have to be for the day. So this is very useful if you want to stay consistent for a long period of time, because a lot of times people, when they're motivated to change or to apply this certain habit, every time they wake up the next day, they just forget everything. And I wanted to get behind that. And my solution to that was to just literally align myself, to remind myself like, okay, you have to be this person. Don't forget your goals. You're going to have to be doing this and that. You have to act this certain way today. In order to keep my mindset in the long run, you have to be constantly reminding yourself of what you have to prioritize. So literally while I'm meditating, I am not only clearing my mind, but I'm also trying to align myself. So basically I would remind myself, okay, this is the person that I have to become. Today I have to study hard because I have high aspirations and I really want to deeply learn the stuff that I'll be learning today. So as you guys know, I'm someone who likes learning other things like math and science or computer science, and I like spending my time productively instead of just scrolling through social media or just scrolling through TikTok. And especially when it comes to learning computer science, math and science, I like it when it's very visual, and that's why this video is sponsored by Brilliant. The one thing that I love about
All right, so this stream was mainly about what do you call it? Some some content on how to study and using dopamine to your advantage, because a lot of times when you can't study, right? Um, it's about not just it's not just about motivation. Like, you can get motivation once, but actually continuing and keeping up that motivation is a big difference, right? So that was the main topic of it. So basically, when you think about it, it's a similar way to getting rid of a bad habit, right? So if you have a bad habit that's too much, it's most likely a high dopamine type of habit, right? So if you want to get rid of that bad habit, what you got to do is you got to stop. Different things work for different people, but uh, you got to try stuff out, see what works, and try to reduce that dopamine. All right. I'm stopping the stream for now. We'll we'll get back on main SAT study and more practice questions.